Write the things you're passionate about. That's what we want to read.
Well, welcome to the Indie Shelf podcast. Thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
I just saw your Goodreads thing like 5 seconds ago.
My what?
The Goodreads review like 5 seconds ago.
Oh, oh yeah. Yeah, I usually do them after the show, but last night I was like sitting there in shock and I was like, I need to get it out. I need to get it out before I forget about all these feelings. Oh, thanks so much. It's cold today where I'm at. It's actually, thanks for the comment about the scarf. This is actually my favorite scarf. And it also matches the book, so I figured, kind of, but it's cold in the basement today. But well, anyway, welcome to the show officially. And this is the book that we're talking about. It's really cool. I'll make like a detailed review later on, but it already has reviews on Goodreads and Amazon. So welcome. Tell us a bit more about you.
Yeah, so I'm currently in LA right now. It's not as cold here, but yeah, I started writing like, I think, what year is it now? 2025. So 3 years ago. Yeah, like midway 2022. I was a structural engineer at that time, and I was doing it like after my 9 to 5. I'd go home. I'd be like, all the anger I had, I would just write it into this book. If you read this book, you will see it. I was like getting it all out in there. And then I stopped engineering at the end of 22. I think the day that I finished this book, like the first draft, I moved to LA to become an actor and writer. And I spent that whole year kind of figuring out how to self-publish, go through all those steps, while just kind of being up in LA. And now I've been here, I think, almost 2 years.
Nice.
Doing all that.
Wow, what a story. That's crazy. I totally get you. I am an architect, so I understand.
Oh, yeah.
I understand where your anger came from. I haven't quite yet quit my job and moved to LA, but I think about it often.
Yeah. Architect's fun, though.
Yeah,
we always have beef with you guys, though.
it's true. You guys, I was actually in a structural coordination meeting today, and I was like, man, these guys despise us.
Yeah, I wonder why. Like, skyhooks just like randomly want to build impossible things. They look pretty, though.
Yeah. Yes. No, but that was really cool when I read that about you. I was like, okay, I get it. I totally understand where he's coming from.
Yeah, I was like, I gotta put this degree to use. I gotta make something building related.
Yeah. So true. It is around a house, which is such an interesting concept. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about the book before we dive into why you did the things that you did?
Yeah, of course. So this is, wish my camera wasn't flipped, but this is The House Rules by Calvin Naraghi. It is a Gothic horror. It's really, honestly, I think for anyone ages 12 and up, it's not a very intense book in the ways of like gore and stuff like that. It's more along the lines of like Maze Runner, Hunger Games level of gore. So you can totally handle it, all ages. But yeah, it's about our main protagonist, Lonnie Graham Bell, who I named after Alexander Graham Bell because I thought it would be very fancy, like kind of like classical in a way. But it's about him. He just finished boarding school and he gets a mysterious invitation from his parents who haven't spoken to him in like 8 years. And he finds this mysterious invitation in his house or in his dorm room with no send back letters or address. He opens it and it's inviting him home for the summer before he goes to college. And, at first he thinks I don't want anything to do with them, but he gets persuaded by his friends to give it a chance and see if his parents have changed. And he goes home and he finds that this is not the homecoming he was expecting. Yeah. Absolutely not.
Yes. What inspired you to write this story? Because for anyone that hasn't read this, it's quite the story. Let me tell you, it takes you through the ringer. So where did this all come from? Besides
I
yourself.
oh man, yeah, some twisted imagination. I had a nightmare one day actually. I feel like I have really vivid dreams during like the hours of like 5 to 8 a.m. And so I had imagined this whole like story, and I was basically living it. It was horrifying,
Oh,
but right after it ended, I was like, oh my god, this would be such a good movie. So I pulled out my notes app and I wrote as much as I could remember as it was like fleeting from my head, and I was like, well, this seems like a very high budget movie. Maybe I can make it into a book. So I just started writing out ideas, kind of formulating how it could like be more. 'Cause, dreams aren't the most reliable logically. So I was like, how can I make this more logical? And it kind of just kept growing and becoming into this thing. I also am obsessed with escape rooms.
I was gonna
I've done
ask.
probably like I think I've done like 28.
What? 28?
Yeah, yeah. I was even thinking about at one point.
Oh, sorry. That was just increasing the brightness because I couldn't see you.
Oh, all good. I even thought about opening an escape room at one point. Still might. Still up in the air.
So, what do you like about it? What's your favorite part?
About escape rooms?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like it's kind of like when you just have this urge to kind of solve puzzles that are in a three-dimensional space. It feels cool to be in the puzzle, I think.
Okay. More so than like video games or something like that.
Yeah. I guess like yeah, it kind of feels like you're like in a real life video game, which
Okay.
could be, I guess we're getting closer to that. Anyway, VR and all that.
Absolutely. And I mean, it does read like escape room. So I'll give you that. And I'm so glad that you said that you thought about it first as a movie. Then you say, well, hold on, let me make it a book. Because one of my questions further down is why not a screenplay or why a book? Because it is a very cinematic book. It reads not in a bad way at all, but it does read like boom, boom, like scene by scene. You are very good at describing settings. That's something that I was like, damn, this guy knows how to set the scene. From you describe the right amount of clothes, the right amount of glamour, the right amount of materials, and it's just you don't give me too much and you don't give me too little. I know where I am, and that's really cool.
That's so funny you said materials because I remember I was reading it with my friend because she hadn't read it yet. And I was like, let me read it out loud to you so you can like give me notes or things. And I was talking about I think how the mom was dressed, and she was like why she's not wearing those shoes. Switch those shoes. No woman would be wearing those shoes walking around the house. She's like fix this. I'm gonna tell you what she should be wearing.
Yeah, no, fair. And in the clothing, I will say if I could rank them, I would say you're better at environments than clothing. But you did describe the clothing well enough to let us know that this was a glamorous affair. And just the way that as the story progresses, the dirtiness of the clothing as well. You did good at like letting us know what are the visuals, and then we can enjoy the story. So it very much reads like a film in a way. I can see it as a film.
Yeah. Sorry, what was the question for? Yeah, I wanted it to be a film. I think I still really want to make it a screenplay. I might do that next. I feel like when I started writing this books, I was at a place where I was like just out of college. I really had not read in a while because I'd been reading so many textbooks. I did not have the energy to read books.
Yeah.
But I watched so many movies like, all the time. Like every day I would watch like 1 to 2 movies, at least like 7 a week. And so I kind of had the formulas in my head of how they worked. And I was like, I see how a horror movie is supposed to be. I can kind of like backtrack and like make this work for a book. And so that's kind of where like it came out very cinematic versus very, I guess, literaturical.
I mean, it's a very literal book. It's a successful book. I'm in no way saying it's not a good book.
Oh yeah.
But and like in the comments, they said that it's the first indie book that has been well edited, and I agree, it was very well edited. I don't agree with this my first book that is well edited. Every single person I've interviewed before, that's one of my biggest comments. Actually, I wouldn't read your book if it wasn't well edited, because that's one of my pet peeves as a reader, and I veto the book before I ask you to join the show. Make sure that I'm not, setting myself up for failure. But it is very well edited, and it's very professional, very much so. If I would have picked it up from a store, I would have not. It would, it just doesn't have that distinction that some people like to make. So good job on that. Now, in the form that you filled, you said that you want to talk about your inspirations. In the back of the book, I noticed actually as I was sitting here that it says the house rule is Leigh Bardugo's The Ninth House meets a deliciously gothic horror variation of The Great Gatsby. Do you agree with that?
I read The Ninth House, and I feel like to the point that it is about like, I don't want to give spoilers, but it is about, like groups of people that are kind of like assembled one for like specific events. That part does kind of resonate with The Ninth House. And I do, when I describe it to people, I always say now, that was my editor, by the way, who wrote that description. She did the developmental edit and the copy edit, I believe.
Okay.
But I always call it, I say, it's like if Great Gatsby and the Saw franchise had a baby, and then you took that baby and you threw it into the Maze Runner trials.
Okay.
That's what they're going through.
Okay. No, and I think that's accurate. Because the monsters were really grotesque. Okay, so you're inspired by these three. You said you just used these three movies to describe your book, but were those the ones that inspired it, or is it kind of like a post-rationalization now?
Oh, definitely post-rationalization.
Okay.
I think it's definitely inspired by the escape room movies. If you've seen those, if you haven't, I recommend. Those ones are very intense because it's like people get invited to an escape room. They think it's just like one of those Groupon escape rooms that you do, and then it turns out like you have to survive or you will die. And then also Ready or Not, I think, was a good inspiration. Also, that one's like the bride marries into the family and then she has to play hide and seek, or where they hunt her down. It's like culty kind of survive the night-esque, so that was a big inspiration too.
Okay, no, I can see that. All the things that you're saying make sense now that I've read the book, and I think you do it successfully. I don't think you rip off anything in particular. I think it's original and stand on its own, and it's really good. Yesterday, when I finished it, I went and checked all my doors.
Oh, God.
Just to make sure. It's like, okay. What's in your current TBR list? Like, where do you usually go to search for more inspiration?
I've just kind of been walking around Barnes and Noble. There's this amazing Barnes and Noble by my house. It's like a 3-story one at the Grove Mall. So I'll go there, and I just start walking. I kind of want to do this thing now with my friends where I just like walk through the aisle and then they tell me to stop and I just grab a book. With my hands on it. But lately I've just been kind of going around and finding which thing looks the most, I guess, appealing. I'm trying to jump from different genre to genre because I feel like I haven't explored all the genres very much. I'm reading my friend's romance novel right now to kind of check that out. And I just finished. Yeah. So I'm doing a little arc for that. What else am I reading? I just finished a horror book that I really liked. It was called Mr. Magic, and that was really good. It was like a kind of, if a children's show kind of mixed with it, like Pennywise clown. So it was like what happens when like children were on this TV show and then they're all grown up now and they can't really remember like what really happened on the TV show. Like it was about a magician or something, but no one really knows how they got to the studio and where it was filmed and like what was going on. And so they're trying to like backtrack their life, and they're just like finding out more and more weird things that don't make sense. And so it's really like, cool. Like I love those like I guess Yellow Jackets did it too, where it's like old versions of people that are kind of like messed up, and then they have to go back to where they were like children that they got messed up at, and they all have their own baggage.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
No, I like that, and I think flashbacks are a very powerful tool, and it's actually in one of my notes. I think I was like on the third flashback I wrote. He uses flashbacks really well, and you really do. You positioned them perfectly. It wasn't a minute too soon, a minute too late. I think it was well done as well, since we're on the subject. Okay, so let's dive into the book. Why did you call it The House Rules? Because you don't really meant like that appears way later. So where is that when it came to you?
I was juggling with so many names. I think a lot of them were already taken.
Okay.
The original, I originally made a different cover by myself. It's not very good. On
Are you gonna show
Canva,
us?
and I don't know if I have it. It's on my Instagram. I'll pin it later so it pops up at the top. But it's that one's more like a maze, with the people kind of like falling into it, and that one was called The House Runs Deep,
Okay.
which I kind of liked, but it didn't feel like it really hit it on the nose. Uh, so I think I did The House Rules because it's like a double meaning,
Mm-hmm.
because there's the house rules, and then the house rules,
Yeah.
like they're taking over.
Yes.
uh, so that was kind of, yeah, I guess the main thing was like the list that's in the book later on, but then I wanted the overarching thing that kind of made it so it could fit over the whole book.
Okay. No, and I agree, Hannah. I've also been personally victimized by the house rules. Who is your intended audience? Because when I read it thinking it was YA, and I thought it was really good for YA, and then in the form it said new adults. So I think it works for both ranges. But who were you thinking of when you were writing it?
When I wrote it, it was YA because I try to keep it like no like very PG-13 language, nothing like crude or anything like that. I just wanted like a good, I actually kept I had like the Hunger Games with me and I kept checking. I was like, is this too gory? No, they did it. It's fine. I was like, if they did it, I can do it. It's fine. I'm still in the range. But then I
Yeah.
started posting about it, and everybody that read it was like, I feel like in that um, like 20s, 30s range. And I didn't really get a lot of people that were like younger that were reading it. So I kind of started shifting to new adult. But I feel like it's just kind of like past new adult, honestly. I feel like just because the character is 18 that I put in that category to kind of make it more relatable.
Okay. I mean, I think it fits. I didn't think it was too gory or anything. And I think, it's I think it's a good transition book. I feel like if I would have read it at a young age, I would have been cool with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
Um,
traumatized.
yeah. Is there, do you want to keep writing for that audience? Is that kind of like your niche, or are you with romance now? Are you trying to explore a little bit more adult audience?
I like writing in this range. I do want to write. Yeah, I don't know. I actually do. Yeah, I like these like coming of age feeling. Those are my favorite kind of movies too. Like Perks of Being a Wallflower is my favorite movie.
Oh wow.
That range is just like it's like something is changing. I do wish there was more like college versus just like everything's like always high school. But so I'm kind of trying to like teeter into that more. I think so. I guess that would be new adult.
Okay.
Um,
Fair enough.
but yeah, I do have one in the works that is, I guess, still like 17, 18-year olds. So I guess it's still YA, kind of along the lines of like Paper Town vibes.
Okay. We'll talk about that later. I'm
Yeah.
curious to see what's next. Let's talk about themes, because I have a little template that I use when I finish a book just to get all my thoughts out there and not get distracted by like all the emotions, but like get a raw thing out there. And when it came to themes, I was like, what is the theme of this book? Like, so what
Yeah.
would you say is the theme of your book?
That was also a hard one for me too. It was like, what is your theme? I'm like, oh gosh. Um, I feel like I always say that it's about self-confidence. Um, which is like when you think about it in like the like overall, you're like, what? But I do feel I feel like the main, like underneath all like the craziness that is happening, it is about this boy who does not feel like he was like given love that he was expected, and he kind of feels like no one treats him right. And then eventually he's kind of growing through it, realizing that I need to like love myself and push through my own things as myself instead of expecting other people to tell me what I am. So that's kind of the main kind of behind the things scene thing that I feel about this book. But then also just family in general would be a good theme.
Okay. Family in general, meaning like the baggage of your family or like family legacy
Yeah.
or
I guess family and found family,
okay.
like the mixture of like, I don't know. I feel like I read a lot of books where it's always like they find that you're like angry with their family, but then they found that their real family was the people that they chose. Yeah, family baggage.
Lots of baggage.
Yeah, a lot. But I don't know. Yeah, I guess when you were reading it, what themes were you feeling?
Yeah, I mean, I really at the beginning there was definitely a lot about, you know, self-love, and he clearly didn't value himself or other he's in a dark place. Um but as the story goes on, I think he's kind of shedding away all this baggage, all this, like, you know, you don't owe anything to your family. And I like his journey through those thoughts as he goes through, which makes the ending so devastating for me. Because, and that's all I'll say, because I don't want to, this is a book you don't spoil. But the ending was so jarring to me based on what I thought the theme was, that's why at the end I was like, I.
Yeah.
But it was a good ending. It was a good ending, even if it did leave me speechless for a couple of minutes.
I had to add that bit in there because I was like, there's so much more like story I have to tell about like exposition about what this world is, that I can't just stop it with one book. It has to be like built in another. And I actually am really glad I did that, or that I'm making this sequel right now.
Oh, okay. So that's
I
what you're
think
doing. You're working on your.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I actually finished writing it. It's now about to be edited a second time. So I'm hoping to
Ooh.
release it later this year. And I really love how I wrap things up in it.
Okay. Is it a
It's
duology or is there going to be more?
just a duology.
Nice.
I wanted to do three, but I don't think I can. I don't think, because it's like it's hard to make a, like when you look at all those other series, most of them are like, if they're fantasy, then fantasy or dystopian, they have like a whole world that you can explore. But this is very like present day, normal New York. Can't be like upending the entire world with
Well,
only never leaving the house.
it is a powerful world that you build within it, which brings me to one of the things that I thought is that even though your book is in a contemporary setting, it has cell phones, it has like all the things that we have around us. It does have this like very old timey vibe to it. It goes back to that you're really good at placing us in the setting, because they had a cell phone and it felt like a paperweight. Useless piece of garbage. Like, I don't know. I don't know how he kept it in his pocket that long. I would have, well, one of them did, but the other one just threw it.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, this is gonna be a flashlight and that's it. I don't want this doing anything.
That was so good. I was like, wow, here we are. All this tech, and the only thing you can do is use it as a flashlight. No, that was great.
Yeah,
It was well done.
that's definitely that's like that's definitely the hardest part now. When you like, I feel like back like 20 years ago when you're writing a book, you're like, or writing a movie, writing a book, anything, you'd be like, oh, the phone is not good enough to do anything like that. But now it solves too many problems. You have to like make sure it dies, or like throw it off a cliff or something.
Yeah, you definitely have to lose the phone in the first 40 pages, because if not, then you'll just call someone. Yeah, for sure. No, but it was well done. It didn't seem that way. It didn't feel like you were just chucking it away. And you left breadcrumbs as well that like let us to understand that that was going to happen inevitably.
Like, we gotta get rid of this.
Yeah. So the five brothers. This comes out later in the book, but it's like but it actually doesn't, and we're actually seeing it constantly over and over again. This imagery of the five brothers, and it changes the way he interprets that piece of art as the book goes on. Where did you get this five brother idea? Their names, their logic. Where is that? What is that?
Oh yeah, oh gosh, that was a long day. I don't want to spoil anything, but yeah, that was making that. I was trying to make something that was new, that wasn't like in relation to anything else that would be like disrespectful or some way. If you read it, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But coming up with those names and stuff, I was trying to think of. I was like going back to like a certain time period. It's kind of like a generational thing with this family in this apartment or house. So I was like, what names would like they have during that time period? What names can I use that have like double meanings to present day time? And so that's kind of the main thing I was trying to do with that. Is just find names for these brothers that kind of fit both ways.
But it's all part of a fable, which is really cool. Where did the fable come from?
I just came out of my head. I don't even know how that. I just made it up. I think I started with that statue. That there's like the five brothers statue is like very prominent in the book, and I think I started by like drawing that. Just kind of kept drawing it to see what it would look like, and then it wasn't really till like a couple actually like last week I was like on TikTok, I think, and I was scrolling through like old kids TV shows, and I saw like Codename Kids Next Door, and they had the same pose, and I was like, did I get it from this? They're like one person in the middle, two on the other side. I kind of like because the statue in this is five brothers. They're all sewn together at the spine, kind of aimed out like that. So I thought it was so funny. I'm like, did I subconsciously do this?
Probably. No, but it was good imagery, and the statue kept popping up, and I regarded it like curious. I bet you tricked me. I didn't think much of it. I thought it was you describing the scene again, so that was really clever. I was like, we kept seeing it, and I didn't know if it was just like, are these people weird, or does this mean something? And when I found out the whole thing, I was like, oh my god!
It was on purpose.
It was on purpose. So that was really cool. Why that POV? I thought that was a very interesting choice, and maybe why it feels so old worldly. You chose third person versus first person for a horror, which I thought was an interesting choice. Why did you do that?
I guess it felt like it would be less. I feel like when you write third person, you kind of describe things more as how they are versus how a person sees them. And I really wanted this to be I feel like this book's pretty plot driven versus character driven. I wanted this house to almost be like a person.
Yeah.
So I feel like if I did a third person limited, I could kind of have it be more like you're watching Lonnie explore this entire world versus like watching through his eyes of how he's being like kind of hit by it.
Yeah.
With still giving like a little bit of like his thoughts into it,
Yeah, and I think you struck a good balance. The house did feel like a character on its own. And definitely you could feel the horror out of the page. Even in the first chapters, the way the funeral was very well done. I think even though it was in third person view, I did feel the change between 8-year-old Lonnie and adult or late teens Lonnie. So I think you did well, even though it was in this more objective point of view. You did give us a first person perspective. That's why I asked, because I was like, this could have easily been one way or the other. So cool.
Yeah. I feel like, in complete honesty, I did not know how to write first person also. I'm trying now. I've been researching how to do it. And I feel like it's harder, honestly. It's a lot more, it's like a lot more intimate. You have to really know your characters like deeply. and know exactly what they're feeling at every second. I feel like with third person limited, you kind of can be almost like observing someone objectively or subjectively. I don't know which one. I always think it's so you can like have an opinion about them. They're not set in stone. But when you're in first person, you're like literally living as them.
Okay.
You have to know them.
Interesting. And that's why I always ask this question, because people always give me the craziest answers that I never expect.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I write in first person and I find third person horrifyingly hard. So so that's cool. So actually, speaking of writing, what is your writing process? How did you write this book?
It's not a great method. I I definitely I would finish work. I'd go home. I'd be sitting in bed, and I don't think I had a desk, so I was sitting in bed writing this, and I would kind of go until my laptop would overheat, and then I'd be like, time to take a break. I would usually watch. I would watch TV for like 30 minutes and then write for an hour and then watch TV for 30 minutes and I just kept flipping back and forth. I didn't have any set. All I had was the like a couple little things that I wanted throughout the story, like kind of like not even an outline, just like a plot point here, and I had to weave the string to them to make it work. Yeah, and I knew how I wanted the major conflicts to happen, and I was like, how can I get them into these situations? But the annoying thing is that they always, I'm sure you feel it too, like your characters start doing whatever they want, and you like can't control them. They'll be like, oh, I want to go this way, and you're like, well, no, I can't have you go that way. They'll ruin everything.
They do have a mind of their own.
Yeah, they're free. They're free to do what they want, but it's a bit annoying.
That's cool. Did you know the ending though from the beginning?
I knew. Gosh, what is the ending? What is like? I'm trying to think of like the ending and then the ending. I knew. No, I didn't know about the five brothers thing. I added that later on, from when that first like. I think I didn't even have an actual idea of where I was gonna go with like finish like getting him out or doing all the things like getting a resolution. I just wanted it to kind of find a way for it to solve itself because I thought it'd be more raw in the moment.
The ending for me, the way you ended it, I was reaching the end of the book and I was like, how are they getting out of this? What is how I? It took me by surprise.
It's been a minute. I've been too focused on the second one.
Go to page 260 real quick. And I don't want to, I'm not going to read it out loud because I don't want to ruin it. But that last sentence was divine. I was so mad and so disturbed, and it messed me up, man.
I took that one straight out of the casino lingo.
I know. And that's what makes it so, but like, no, if you know the story, if you've gone through what you've gone through, reading that is so insulting. It's so like, it's so aggravating.
Yeah.
Is there an escape? It's an escape.
I think you're going to be so happy with the second one because it solves everything in the best ways.
Okay.
In the most like unexpected ways that you're not expecting. So,
I'm excited. I'm excited. Yeah, I read almost any genre, and when I saw Gothic horror, I was like, oh man, it's because I'm a bit of a coward.
Yeah.
But I was like, no, it looks so cool, and I really liked your cover, by the way. That kind of sold it. And then hearing you talk about it,
that is by Christian Storm. I don't know why I'm showing it. It's reversed, so you can't read the name. Yeah. But it's by Christian Storm. He, I believe he did the Paper Towns cover with the pin, and many other ones that are pretty big. Yeah, I found him on the reading or the writing app I was using because they have like a marketing section, and I was like, this is cool. So I'm gonna have him do the second one. I already thought of some ideas of how I want to do it. to kind of give it on theme.
It's gonna match up in my shelf, right? It's gonna be lined up beautifully.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I think it's gonna be a different color scheme, but similar premises.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Well, okay. You mentioned writing app. What is where we're talking about your process? So you overheat your computer and do sprints while watching TV, and and then okay, you're done with your manuscript. It's done. What's next?
Yeah. So I guess first of all, yeah. So I use this app called, or not even an app. It's just a website. It's called Readsy. It's completely free. I actually love it a lot. It organizes your book by chapter, and it gives you ability to you can flip chapters, you can add them to margins, you can put comments on it, highlight different words, and it doesn't share any of it with AI, which is really nice. That was what deterred me from using Google Docs, because I guess they do, so that had me a bit nervous. But yeah, they do all that. You can send it to Word if you want easily. It has all the options. And then so once you finish the manuscript, there's a whole marketing section of it where you can find editors, proofreaders, cover designers, everything. You can query them to ask, or I guess it's called, yeah, query them to ask for their prices and stuff like that. So it's really nice. It kind of has all the different sections you need, and it's free. So recommend.
Nice.
You can use it on your phone and your on your laptop, phone, computer, anything. It's like Google Docs. It just transfers the files to every single thing, so you can do it simultaneously.
Oh, cool. Okay, so they do sync up with your phone,
Yeah,
so you don't. Oh, that's great. That's really a must.
yeah.
Oh,
'Cause sometimes I'm on the go, and you're like, "Oh my god, I have an idea. I have the ending," and then you have to write it down, and it's there.
yeah, no, that's really cool. The editing process. How was
Yeah,
that for you? How many edits did you do?
I did. Okay, let me think. Okay, so I finished the first draft, and I think I waited 6 weeks so I didn't just rip it to shreds when I read it. Maybe 4 weeks probably. I edited it again just on my own. It was really nice, by the way, when I was writing this book, because I feel like when you write your first book, it's kind of scary. You're like, I don't know if I can do this. Like, what? How am I going to do this? But my
Mm-hmm.
mom would read every chapter after I wrote it, so I'd send it to her, and she'd read it. She'd give me some feedback. I'd fix it, and then I'd send her the next chapter. And so it made me have to keep going. So she was like, I need to know what's happening next. Like, you can't leave me on this hanger. And then by the time she got to the end, she was like, "Oh my god, I remember what happened at the beginning. What? How did we get here?"
Oh,
Uh,
that's so nice.
yeah,
I love a good support system. And it
yeah.
seems like, let me see. Usually people write the dedications on the front, but you did acknowledgments in the back. Oh no, you did dedicate it to
I
her.
did dedication like that.
Yeah, to my mother.
Yeah,
Who said I could be a writer, and to myself for deciding to believe her. That's really nice. Go
yeah. I
mom.
was. Yeah, she really got this thing running. She's very supportive. She's like, we need to get you up outside Barnes and Noble. She's like, me and my sister, or her and her sister, like, we're coming up there. We're gonna set up a cart outside, and we're just gonna start handing out the books. And I was like, please don't do that.
My son wrote it. I swear,
Don't
it's
think about
amazing.
it.
She
Yeah.
would sell books. I believe in her. I feel like she would sell at least 10 books, assuredly.
Oh, I believe in her too. I just don't know if I could be there with them.
Oh no! You can't be there with it.
Yeah, I'll just give them a cart and the copies, and that'll be good enough. Oh gosh. But yeah, so the editing process. So that first edit, then I sent it to a developmental editor, which was a person that's on the back of the book. So she did an edit, and basically, developmental editor, those that don't know, is just the person that kind of tells you, like, hey, this makes sense. Hey, this does not make sense. Hello. All these things, these plot points don't flow well. These characters need more information about them, stuff like that. So basically, just kind of giving you the overall, how's your story working is what needs to be fixed. And so he did that. I edited it again. I sent it back to her. She did the copy edit. I don't think I did a line edit on this one, but the copy edit was kind of just fixing up paragraphs to make it the tone and the flow kind of consistent with each other. Because sometimes you write one day really fast, and the other day you're really slow and very imagey. So she was like, "We need to make this all one story, not little stanzas going on here." And then edited again. I think, oh my God, what are we at? 4. And then I sent it to a proofreader just to kind of do the final, make sure everything's correct. And then that was the last one. Yeah. So 5, I think.
5. And they were done by 3 different people?
Yeah. 2 different people, because the first lady did the developmental editor and the copy editor, and then I found a proofreader on Fiverr, which is like a service where you can have people do things, various anything pretty much. They have everything on there. I found an editor on there because I thought a proofreader didn't need to be super advanced, published author editor.
Yeah. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. So
yeah, I also put if you're looking for a price breakdown, it's somewhere on my Instagram.
Okay.
Where I went through all that for all the audios.
Okay. Are you gonna, speaking of audio, do you ever think about making it an audiobook?
I am, yeah. I do have my equipment.
Oh my God, I think we have the same microphone actually.
Yeah. It just takes up too much space. I had to put it away. I want to do an audiobook. I think I'm just gonna do it myself. I'm debating between 2 things right now. I'm either gonna do the audiobook this month, or I want to do a 30-day writing challenge where I try and finish a whole book in a month. Write a whole book in a month.
Oh my God.
So I'm stuck between those 2. I kind of want to do the book one because this book that I've been talking about constantly has been on my mind for 3 years.
Okay.
I need to write it at some point.
Hey, if you're feeling the motivation, I say run with it. Like, go on the sprint. Yeah. For sure.
I'm gonna be so tired afterward.
Just in time, your hands will hurt from writing, so your voice will be perfect for narrating.
Yeah, exactly.
At what point of the edits did you come up with some of these descriptions? I'm gonna read a couple of them because I have some favorites.
Yeah.
The branches of old oak trees spread out across the street, reaching out to him like beckoning hands.
Oh, yeah.
So good.
I think that was a first drafter.
Ooh.
Somehow.
Let me see. I have another one that I was like, oh my God, I can't wait to ask him about it. It's so sassy, too.
Is it the mom's perfume?
No, but while I find that one, this one, Mr. Granville, on the other hand, was a statue, his stiff face staring down at his disintegrating wife with anger, watching as she cleaned the mess that had now spread to the edge of the wall. I love disintegrating wife. Like, damn, okay.
I did not know that was the word I used. That's
disintegrating. Crazy. And it's perfect because what he's describing, I mean, yeah, she would. Yeah. Oh my God, I need to find this super sassy one that I was like, oh my God, if I were her, I'd be devastated.
Yeah, I'm so curious.
Her outfit said business professional, but the rest of her was being held together with hairspray and coconut scented deodorant. Ouch!
I know exactly what part that was. I love that line. I think that one's like, this is not a spoiler, so I can say it. That part is when they graduate the boarding school, I think in chapter 2, and they're having like the graduation ceremony, and the lady that's in charge of the line is like, she's like, oh my God, you guys are late. Get in here now. Go in line, A through Z on that side. Go. And then I think like a couple of pages later, because she's like kind of all dressed up, she looks presentable, and then a couple of pages later, her bun is like falling out, and she's like kind of glistening with the sweat, and she's like, just go, please.
Just please get out of here. I love your description. So this is the last one I'll read. The smell of death hugged the walls like a mausoleum mixed with the thick scent of bleach. It's another great example of how you like gave us the mausoleum. Like everyone's been to a mausoleum, right? And like it screams death, but then the horror of it is the fact that it smells like bleach because it tells you that it's been cleaned. And why do you have to clean the stench of death over and over and over again? It's so small, but it's so potent. It's so good. And the book is filled with these. So if you're listening, like go read this goddamn book right now because you're gonna have a great time. You're gonna be spooked, but it's gonna be like a good spooky, not like a nightmare spooky. Or wait, because it all came from a nightmare. Do you give yourselves nightmares with your?
Honestly, no. I don't know. I feel like it was like a nightmare, but in like a fun way, not like like an action-y kind of way, not like a lock my doors way.
Okay. And I think that's a good way to describe your book. It's a horror that is exciting and action packed. It's not like existential dread. I don't think. Not for the reader anyway.
Exactly. Definitely has its. That's why I was like, when I was picking the genre, I was like, did we fit in Gothic horror? Like, did we make it? I'm like, I think so. But it was kind of like a different kind of Gothic horror. It wasn't like the vampires and the undead and stuff like that. It kind of found its own little window in.
And that's a good point. Why did you choose? Like, did you set out to do horror and then you defined it as Gothic, or did you say Gothic horror? Let's go.
It definitely was like horror, and then I'm like, wait, is this? I'm like, wait, what is a Gothic horror? I looked it up. I was like, what qualifies as a Gothic horror? And it was like haunted houses, like spooky houses. I was like, okay, I'm like, I think we're in the range. Made it. But I feel like every time I post about it, I kind of give it a different. I'm like, this is a Gothic horror. This is a thriller. This is a psychological thriller.
I totally get that.
Like whatever hashtag is gonna get people to look at it.
Absolutely, I totally get that. I have the same problem. So when you said Gothic horror, that's why it piqued me so much, because I'm like, Gothic, what does he mean? But I was a little skeptical. But I read the book, and I am here to officially announce to all four winds, it is indeed a Gothic horror for sure, 100%.
Heard it here first. The House Rules is a Gothic horror.
I think it is. I think you fit the bill. And if we're gonna go with like antiquated, descriptions of it, then maybe this is like a new age, like a resurgence of Gothic in contemporary literature. Because I know the vibes that you were going for. I actually, in my book, I'm going for similar imagery that I would classify as Gothic. And it's definitely doing a comeback. And it's it's like a mixture of old worldliness with some of that Gilded Age, and then our contemporary world is very glamorous if you think about it. Like, we have access to so many things, so it's very easy to paint contemporariness in a Gothic setting, because we kind of living in a dystopic time.
Yeah,
where this kind of stuff could actually happen.
Yeah. I guess that's what had me thrown off. I was like, Gothic horror, those are like all kind of like Victorian age things. So I was like, can you make it present day? Is that a thing?
I vote yes.
No. Yes. Now, I know. The survey.
What would you say, right? I've kind of like bombarded you with compliments, but what do you think is your strength? Like, if you had to pick one thing that makes you a badass author, what would it be?
Oh gosh. I think I really know how to do a good foreshadow. I really know how to, like, I don't like save it for like the next draft. I just go back and I fix it immediately when I get the idea. I'm like, oh, this would fit perfectly here. Gotta fix it right now before I forget. And then I kind of just keep bouncing, ping-ponging back and forth from the front and the end of the book to make it make sense. So I feel like I like that a lot about my writing.
Okay, so you're constantly weaving, right? As you get new ideas, you're like, wait, and it's kind of So you're building your story like a pyramid.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, that's cool. I like that. I looked into you, obviously, and you created Cozy Manor Publishing. Tell me more about that. What's that? What's going on?
Yeah, that's this little guy. House. I made it because I originally queried some agencies, and none of them. I found that a lot of them don't like horror. I think I looked up like over 100, and only 6 of them said they were like, if you send me horror, we'll take it. All the other ones were like, do not send me horror. And I even looked up like horror specific ones. They were like, we don't want YA horror. I should say YA horror.
What? That's crazy.
Yeah, right.
Why do you
So I sent them to them, but
why do you think that is? Let's unpack that a little bit.
yeah. Man, I don't even. I was trying to think about it then. I'm like, why would they not want this right now? I guess because I think what really sells right now is like those murder mystery thrillers, and that kind of takes over the horror category. Um, I feel like there's so many of those, like all like I don't even know what they're. I think it's Janet Evanich, right? All those like little tiny books that are always like the murder on the plane, the
Oh,
murder on stuff like that. Um, so I don't know. I see some like there's a horror section at Target, so there must be something. I just didn't find the right agents, but so I made the. I was like, I guess I'll just make my own publishing area company, so that I could have something to like put on the cover and like to back it, and then I can make more books and have them all under this like umbrella.
okay. Have you published other people's work, or is it just you for now?
I think it's just gonna be mine. And then if I do, because I'm gonna put the sequel under this one too, or I might try and query that one, but I don't know. I need to look up how that all works to see if you can even do a second book sent out while the first one's already out. But I that's kind of why I made it. I made it Cozy Manor Publishing, so it's not like horror themed. It's just kind of existent, so I could put other genres under it too of my own books. And if I ever do get one that's like gets traditionally published, then they'll be like two separate things, and they can kind of be spread apart
Okay.
into categories.
How is it? I guess you haven't really published other authors, but how is it owning a publishing? Like, that's kind of a unique experience.
Oh
Neat
gosh,
story.
it was a hassle to. I don't even think I actually finished like getting it filled out. I remember I tried to make it official with the state, and it was like a whole thing. And then after like 4 months, they were like, "Yeah, you never sent anything." After I sent so many things, so at that point, I was like, "You know what? It's existed in my head and somewhere on paper. On my ISBN, it's official, and that's good enough for me."
Hey, that's good enough. Why did you choose to be an indie author? Is it because you got rejected for querying, or was there a point where you just decided you wanted to pursue this route more?
I I think I really wanted to do traditional publishing just because of the what is required to be published by you? I don't know what's required to be published by me. I think just a understanding of marketing that is superior to mine because that is not my strong suit.
Oh,
Yes,
wait,
yes.
maybe you get people that are interested. Maybe this becomes takes a life on its
Yeah,
own.
becomes the Bloom House of books.
Right.
um, yeah, I don't know. I did want to yeah I did want to do traditional publishing. I think when I did the querying the first time, it didn't work out, and then I got to the point where I feel like usually when you're querying, they do the line edits, or when you traditionally publish, they do line edit and copy edit for you and proofreading. And I already passed that point, and I was like, well, now I just did all the work for them. I don't want to give
Yeah.
this to them anymore. 'Cause I already did the hard part, aside from marketing. And so I was like, just I'm gonna do it myself, and I'm gonna see where it goes.
Nice. You published it last year, right?
I Yeah, I published it in October 8th, I think.
Oh,
Yeah,
just in time for Halloween.
yeah.
Um,
That was the whole. I was like, I gotta get it out by Halloween.
for
It
sure.
has to be October, so I can be like it's a thriller read, do a little horror in your month.
How
Um,
how has the book done? If you don't mind sharing.
yeah. Um, I think it's I think it started pretty good for like first month or two, and then it's definitely dwindled down to like a couple sales a month. But I think it's picking up again. I just started book talk like last month, so that's
Hmm.
been really helpful finding people that actually are interested in it. I was on Instagram promoting it for like since October, and nobody and never would show it to anybody. And I was like, no one even knows about it. How do I get this out there? So
Yeah.
TikTok's been really helpful about that.
Yeah,
As
you've
we
been
already
very successful. I mean, how many people do you have? You're doing very well for yourself, sir. Let's see. 1,346 followers. Which is
yeah. So
For just a chill guy that writes stories, that's pretty good.
I know. I was like, that's crazy. I think I got most of them from this one post I did. I was saying I want to meet more writers in the community, and I got so many followers on it. And so I was following people back, and then eventually TikTok was like, "You can't follow any more people. You think you got half." So I was like, "Okay." I'm like, "Leave a comment. I'll follow you then. It won't let me follow everyone else." So that's where I got to meet so many people on. And then my Instagram, I've had that since October. It has like 300 followers.
Wow.
I'm like drastically different, very unmotivating, but I do like that I can post like article or like ads on it, or not even ads, but like static photos.
Yeah. No, it's definitely different platform, and I feel like everyone has more success on TikTok than on Instagram, generally speaking. So that's nice. So let's see. I'm not good at marketing. Digital marketing is a skill, but not something I enjoy. I can edit though. Yeah. Yeah, I think you do a really good job. I think your content is varied enough that you draw people in.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, no, I think you're doing well. Has it slowed down your followers and your engagement, or are you kind of consistent?
Yeah, it's definitely slowed down. I'm just trying to post every day, so something, anything. But I definitely linger on this like line where I'm like I write horror books, but I want to write this coming of age like historical fiction book, so it's gonna kind of throw a wrench into the gears. I'm like, so should maybe I not talk about horror so much? Maybe I should like overarch, but it's kind of gets mixed up together.
How do you feel about feedback? What kind of feedback have you gotten, and how do you deal with negativity, if at all?
I I like when people give like if it's I like all comments that are positive or negative. I just don't like when people just put like 1 star, no review. I'm like, well, that's very helpful to me. Like at least say like did not finish reading or something. It just says 1 star. I'm like, well, why? And then just drags your rating down for no reason. I have gotten one comment where it was like, after they finished the first book, they were like, too many. They're like, this is really good. You use a lot of similes. And I was like, oh my gosh, I do that. The second book, I like, every time I would write a simile, I was like, no, don't write a simile. You don't need it. That helped a lot.
Let's do a test.
Oh gosh.
How often is it? If I find it, let's see. Not finding it.
Yeah.
Yes, you do.
Yeah. Yeah. So they're there. So the second one, I'm like, I gotta stop.
That's okay. It wasn't as noticeable for me, so I'm sure that person probably had an English degree. So it's
Yeah. And then I think you commented on it, and then someone else said it also that I need to pick up, or I guess something about action, like writing out action less or more specifically, I think. And I definitely agree. In my head, I'm like, yeah, it's like boom, 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 things are moving. And then I look on the page, it's just like, how did he end up on a cliff? Like, how did he get there?
Yeah, and I think it's very small moments where like there's like, I don't know how we got there, but I can see that again because you're so good at composing your scenes. I feel like I missed something, and then I go back and try to find the missing link, and then I can't find it. But it's not like soul destroying. It's not like
Deteriorating.
it's not jarring. It doesn't make the book not enjoyable. It's just that you're sucked into the action. You're like, wait a minute, hold on, what? Because you're scrutinizing. I feel like that's part of your genre. It's like because it's so it sucks you in. You're analyzing every little move to the point of like almost taking notes on the side. And so if one thing is missing, you're like, hold on, wait a minute, no, wait.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm worried about with this second one. There's one scene. Oh my gosh, what can I say about it? I was reading back through it, and I was like, because it's like kind of chess oriented, and I'm like, how would they? I don't even know if they know where we are right now. Like, how would they know like what moves are being made from like a first person, like from a third person perspective, like if you can't see the whole board. So it's already. So I did add I added some visuals into the second book just for like help.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, you can also do the. Don't doesn't chess have like the D and the number, like the letter and the number, and like.
I'm gonna write that down. Yeah. Um, no, I definitely could do that. I'm like trying not to spoil the thing, but I don't know where I'll add them. Yeah, I feel like mine's not very like if you don't know what chess is, then you're not gonna be bothered by this part of the book. It's not gonna be confusing at all. I mean, it's not gonna be confusing in a chess sense. You'll understand.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. I will stop. I don't want you to give me any spoilers because I wanna feel the feels again.
Mm.
So how important are reviews for you? Like, is it something you look forward to, or is it kind of just like in the background? You're like, whatever.
No, I love them so much. I love seeing their review. I like check every day if there's a new review.
Nice.
I even just did I just made my ebook version free this entire week. I linked it like everywhere on my pages. And I'm like, all I ask is like, I'm like, you get your free book. Like, if you feel inclined to review it, please do it. Even if you hate it, just rip the crap out of it. I don't even care. I just want like something to read to help me write the second one and make it better. It's so humbling now when I type in the house rules on Amazon and I'm not even on the first page. I have to type in like by my name because it keeps showing like these like I don't even know what you call them. They're like tapestries for your kitchen
Yeah,
or the cider
I
house
see.
rules.
For the first time, I was like, "Oh my god, this is kind of low key hilarious." Because, um, you should do a TikTok about that because that's actually really
No.
fun.
Yeah. I'll write that down. I'm like, yeah, I'm like, please. Like, why? Why are they? I was only on the first page for like the first week when I got best new release or something. And I was like, yes, I made it. And then it immediately fell off the page.
Best new release is amazing. That is, you just drop that in there
Yeah.
like it's not a big deal. What?
Yeah, that was so cool. They like the first week it was like best new release in this category because on Amazon you have different like you can pick like your categories. You get 3 per book. So I
Mhm.
picked one of them. It was like young adult, fiction, parents, family conflict or something. And it was like that is best new release in trauma.
Perfect. You know what? I agree. The book does trauma is a good category for your book. I didn't even think about it, but now that you said it, I can't unthink it.
Yeah, definitely fits the bill pretty well.
Yeah. So, okay. Did you always want to write a book, or why do you write, and what keeps you writing?
I I just really love like I feel like every day I'm always thinking of stories when I like walking around, or especially when I'm listening to songs. Like I have planned out an entire books or movies from like a single song, just like inspired the vibe. Um, so I'm just going to keep writing them, especially if I'm like, oh, I want to watch something like this and I don't see it anywhere. I'm like, I need to make that. Someone needs to make this now, and I don't see anyone else doing it. So it'd be me.
Yeah, we write the books we want to read for sure. You're also an actor, right? Do you How does that coalesce with your writing? Like, what's the synergy between those two things?
I feel like the acting helps me build characters because every week you get like a new script and you have to become a new person. And then when I write the books, I'm like, okay, maybe I could be like put that character into this, and that would be fit the bill. And I know how they act because I like was them for like a day. uh, and then I guess you get to see when I'm doing acting, I'm like constantly watching movies to kind of study, and then I'll be like, oh, that was such a good like transition. I need to like remember that for when I'm doing something of a similar like betrayal or something of that nature. So they kind of go hand in hand pretty well. Um, they're definitely making writing books is definitely making me want to write screenplays now, and
I think
vice
you should
versa.
do it. Yeah.
I used to write short films because I needed like footage for myself. So I would just write stuff and then I would make it with my friends. We did like 48-hour film festivals, which are like you get the script on the
Oh,
Friday, or you make a script on Friday, you film it on Saturday, you edit on Sunday.
yep. I did my first 48-hour film fest last year.
Oh yeah, how was it?
It was good. I won Outstanding Achievement Award.
Oh shoot, nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're so fun.
they're so fun. And I didn't know anyone in the film industry, so I did it all by myself. So it's like the cringiest thing I've ever done in my life, but everyone seemed to love it. So I don't know. It's kind of bizarre.
Wait, that is such a flex. You made the entire thing yourself.
I
You're just
did.
like, I'm doing this.
I wanted
And you
to
won?
and I didn't win first place, but I did won, and
You won an award though. That's crazy.
it was insane. But I don't want it. Doing it alone is insane. I do not recommend, but it is fun and it does allow you to like work on your chops and kind of learn forcefully to do things. And ironically enough, I had murder mystery as a
Oh
category.
gosh.
What was your category?
The first one was school, which would thank God because we did not have we like had no location, so we're filming this at my university. Somebody I knew worked there. I'm like, can you sign off and said we were allowing us to work at this college? And then we filmed this guy like having a bad trip. He thought he took an Adderall for a test, and he actually took like a psychedelic. And he's just tripping out. And we're like, this is great. If we edit anything wrong, it'll look like it's on purpose. And then I can see all the parts that were wrong, and I'm like, okay, it worked. It's fine. No one knows.
Did you act on that one?
No, I directed that one. I directed the first two, and then the last one, I was like, I don't want to direct these. This is exhausting. Everyone was like mad at me all the time. I was like, I don't know what to tell you. I wrote this like last night. It's not like I had time to plan it.
For real. That's cool. Yay, someone that's done it as well. You're the first person that I meet in the wild, like not within the event that I talked to about this. This is so cool. Or are you gonna do it again next year? Yeah, this year, I guess.
Maybe. I haven't really decided yet. I was doing it with my friends from acting school back in San Diego, and now I'm in LA. And I guess I'd have to plan it out. I don't even know what it is, honestly. But I miss it. Yeah, the third one I did was really fun. I got to be a serial killer.
Nice.
My friend works in this factory, so we filmed it all in a factory. It was super creepy.
Oh,
And then for some reason, my other friend had like a head, like she was like a hairdresser, and she had a head in her car that looked exactly like me. So we're like, we have to murder that.
what? That's creepy. Why does she have questions? But maybe at the right time.
I had like two, me and like another girl. She had like both of our heads in her car, and we're like, great, we're both dying in this movie. It's the only way.
And that's what's fun about the 48 hours. Like you just like you just grasp at straws and make it work.
Exactly. I'm like, oh wait, that's what happened.
Would you act on your own like movie about one of your novels?
I would love to. I don't know if I've aged out of it, but I feel like the main character is definitely based on me to a sense. I like didn't really want to pick like when I described all the characters, I didn't want to go like super in depth on how they looked. Aside from I think just hair, I described. I wanted them to kind of be like they could be anything, anyone. I think I just described their frames mainly. I was like, he's like the scrawny like protagonist. His friend is like super buff and like good looking, very intimidating. I would love to be the main character though. I always was like, who would I cast as the other people? I kept thinking about it.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was like, I couldn't think of people off the top of my head.
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. Sometimes when I send people my chapters, they return with like who they think would play my characters, and I always find that so fascinating because it never looks like I pictured it.
Really?
Not exactly. Like there's some features that I'm like, okay, clearly you read the description, but like it's not what I pictured. So
Yeah.
you need to send it out. a challenge to see what people come back with.
Oh my god, I should do that. I'm gonna do that. I did make like the character boards, and I definitely was like when I was making it, I was like kind of picturing I forgot his name from Dead Poet Society, the one that like wants to be an actor. I was kind of getting that vibe.
Hmm.
Appearance was like him, and then his like personality was like Ethan Hawke's character
Okay. Well,
mixed together.
okay. Yeah, and that's another thing. It's like when you try to create new characters that haven't seen before, you have to be like, well, if you take, I don't know, this character and this character, and yeah. No, it's hard. That'd be cool. I mean, if someone wants you to publish their book, maybe you publish a couple of people's books and become your own producer. So,
Yeah, I'll make the Reese Witherspoon book club, but for horror.
So do you think writing is a talent or a skill?
I think I feel like anyone can be a writer. I think no, I think anyone can tell stories. I think writing them out is sometimes hard, but I think anyone can be a book writer if they. How would I describe this? Anyone can write. Anyone can make stories. I feel like everyone has the ability. Some people might need like someone to write it out to kind of like compress it into like a finite thing. But I think anyone could write a book. Anyone can make a story. Everyone has stories, and I feel like people always tell me stuff. They always say like they always start to be like, I could never write a book, and then they tell me this idea that they have, and I'm like, that's the most amazing thing I've ever heard in my life. I would read the crap out of that, and they don't want to. They're like, no, I couldn't write it though. I couldn't do that.
Yeah, I mean, it is a hard process to go through. You're one of the few percentage of people that actually got to the finish line. But I agree with you. I feel like one of the reasons why I'm enjoying this kind of indie author discovery process so much is because I'm so pleasantly surprised and overjoyed by all these creative stories that how else would they exist? That freedom of like not having to have someone, say, no, but that's not marketable.
Yeah, things can't bury the indie stories. They can just publish them themselves. You can't hold them back.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's pretty cool. And I mean, your story, if you had been stopped by querying, it wouldn't exist. And I think it's a great story to be out there. It's a great point for the resurgence of gothicness that I am secretly battling for in the background.
We're secretly building a task force to take back the publishing.
A little gothic resurgence. Shh, you heard it here first. When it blows up, don't forget where it started, right here.
This is where the revolution was. You're all in the meeting.
Yep, it's right here. You're at ground zero. So in your form, you mentioned that you didn't want to talk about whether your family in the book is based on your own, which I completely understand. I hate that question as an author. It's like, no, I'm way more than that. But why do you think people ask this question? And who asked this question? Is it strangers or people that you know?
No, I think even my grandma was like, is this based on your parents? Which is like, first off, so funny that my grandma read this like very devout Catholic lady who's like, she's like always wearing berets, or not berets, like little berets.
Yeah.
Berets, in like little color-coded outfits. And she's like, yes, I just thought it was based on your parents. I'm like, they don't act anything like this. Especially the mom. Like the mom in this book she's so like, kind of, I don't even know how to describe her. I think kind of like reality TV-esque.
Yeah, she's very weak-willed, I would say.
Yeah. She like wants to be liked so badly by everyone. That's kind of her downfall. And the dad. Yeah, the dad I just kind of I took my dad's stubbornness and kind of just amped it up and made this character, the dad in this book, very just like aggressive towards what they want, which is scary to other people. Yeah. And then I have a sister. And I think, yeah, in this book, there's only one brother. The brother and my sister aren't really based on each other at all.
Yeah.
Differing.
So why do you think people ask this though? Like, why do you think it's always such a? I feel like when stories have to do with family, that's the first thing people ask. Why do you think that?
I feel like I don't know. I guess I kind of like to take it as a compliment because when they read it, they're like, "This was so like realistically done, etc." Like they must have been based on like something you lived. I'm like, no, I just wrote it. But I will say, when I did write this one, because I worked at a family engineering firm with my parents, so I would like be there with them all day at work, and then whenever they would like make me mad, I'm like, I would just take it out on these parents. I was like, they're gonna take. I'm like, so the people aren't based on them, but like the like angry outbursts from like Lonnie to them is definitely based on like I was really angry that day. Needed to vent.
Okay, yeah, some about raw power. I mean, it definitely felt. I like that about Lonnie. He was appropriate for his age. It didn't give you the vibe that it was written by someone that was older. He was appropriately mature, inappropriately emotionally stunted, and I think whatever you did get that, whatever you drew from reality, I think it was done elegantly, and it wasn't too much, or like it didn't feel weird in any way. The characters fit what you were trying to do.
Wonderful.
So if you had one piece of advice for fellow writers that are either starting the journey or midway through or even published already, what would you say to them?
I always say just finish it, honestly. Like if you ever think it's bad, just finish it. Because even if it's horrible, even if it's the worst thing you've ever read in your entire life, they cannot take away that you finished writing a book. You have a book technically. And you can always fix something later. Everyone needs to fix their drafts. So just finish the thing, make it a complete product. You can rip it to shreds afterwards, but they can't take away that you have written a book.
Amen.
That's what I think. Because for me, I always would write 4 chapters and then I would stop all my life. I would like, whenever I would just be like, oh, this is a good book idea. And I would like write it down on paper, 4 chapters, never make it past. So now I always say, if you make it past chapter 5, you're in it for the long haul.
That's good. I like that. I like that a lot. Because I feel like that's true. I'm thinking back. I'm here listening to you and thinking back, and I think you may have a point.
Yeah. I think I did an article like last year. It was like, what are like the 5 tips you give people? And I'm like, that was number 1. And then number 2 was like, find somebody to like read your book while you're doing it to keep you accountable. So you have to keep writing it. That helps a lot too. So
yeah.
Making it.
Having someone there like, did you write today? And you're like,
Yeah. You're like, fine. All right. So now I'm making it. So all the characters are getting it.
No, that's good advice. Which author do you compare yourself to? Who do you think you sound like, if anyone at all?
I honestly don't even know. I feel like I kept trying to like, whenever I would start sounding like someone, I kept trying to pivot so that I wouldn't be like copying them. So it kind of was a mesh of everyone. Just kept getting like turned, and then I would turn again. Yeah, I don't know. I really couldn't say a specific person. I probably need to read more Gothic novels.
If you can find them, if you find a Gothic novel, a true Gothic novel, send it my way. We're building a genre empire, so I need
Contemporary Gothic novel. I'll send it right your way.
Please do. I'm doing my field research. What's next for you? What's on the docket?
Well, so I'm waiting for my developmental editor. She's going to start this editing in June. Hopefully, she's not responding to my email. But so that's going to be in June. And then while she's doing that, I think I'm going to start that 3rd book because I really want to write it. I really just want to talk about it, honestly. But I'm like, I can't talk about it until I write it. But I know exactly what's going to happen. I have that's the first one I outlined the entire thing. I wrote the first 5 chapters. I got rid of it. I started again, wrote 4 chapters, got rid of it. Now I'm doing first person because it was
Oh,
third person the first time. So I'm trying the third first person. Um, to give like a short little, just
little tease.
little tease, it is a historical fiction. It's about the Doom Town. I think they're called Doom Towns in the U.S., which are like in the 1940s when they would test bombs for the war. They had those like towns like in Indiana Jones, like big town, and so it's like what would happen if they decided not to use one, and then people started moving into it and building a community over the next like 85 years, and then there's like a whole town that lives there now.
Oh, cool.
So it's very coming of coming of age mixed with historical fiction of like what the heck's going on, and then it gets crazy. It's very crazy.
You saying that makes me kind of identify a little pattern here with you. It seems like you're very inspired by quintessential kind of American historical vibes, because for the House Rules, which is the book we're talking about, in case I haven't mentioned it in a while, so if you're new here, we're talking about this book and this author. For here, I definitely got some Gilded Age vibes, and now you're talking about some of these boom towns. Is that? Am I onto something here?
Maybe, yeah. Maybe I should change it to historical fiction author. That is the unsound niche that no one was talking about. Yeah, I feel like there's like stories that I don't need to like research a ton because I studied them for so long growing up, just doing U.S. history, and now I can like just take that and build something out of it. It's present day, and it kind of gives it like I don't know. It gives it like a um, world that's already built, but you can kind of change it up, and it's also more fun and different than just a coming of age at a high school story. It's like coming of age at a potential bomb site.
Yeah, I'm intrigued. I'll read it. I'll check it out. And I think all authors should pivot. I mean, I don't think just because you did a horror novel, you should stick to that. I think the more you pivot, the better, because then I always say your first story is always the worst story. The first chapter is always the worst. Your first movie is always your worst because you always get better and better. So I don't think that's a bad thing.
Hopefully so. Hopefully it just keeps building.
So give me a one-liner. Give me like one thing for me to remember you by.
Oh gosh. That's so much pressure. About me?
Yeah, about your book, your writing process, whatever. Just a one-liner. A piece of wisdom.
I would say write the things you're passionate about. That's what we want to read.
Well said. Well said. Well, the floor is yours. Shameless plug. Where can we find you? Well,
yeah.
What's happening?
So, I'm trying to remember my Instagram. I got hacked a month ago. I had to change it, so now I keep saying the wrong one. But my Instagram is Calvin_Naraghi_writer. My TikTok is the one you're on right now. Calvin Writes Stories. So I post almost every day, just book related content. Sometimes it's about my book. Sometimes just like relatable content you find when you're reading, like when your main character thinks that it's over, but it's actually a horror book with a sequel. Trauma awaits, stuff like that. My Goodreads, you just type in Calvin Naraghi Goodreads, that will pop up first thing. And this book, this wonderful book you can find on Amazon. Type in The House Rules by Calvin Naraghi. If you just type in The House Rules, you will get random kitchenware that is like kitchen tapestries that say The House Rules to keep a good family. Random stuff. You don't need that. I mean, if you want that, fine. But like, I'm on a different page. Also, my ebook is still free until Thursday. I put the links on everything: my TikTok, my Instagram. I'm making a website right now. It'll be on there soon. I'm gonna finish the website this week. But get your free book and get it while it's there.
And it's a good book. I definitely recommend it. I gave it 4 stars out of 5. Great book, great time, fun time. And that concludes our interview. It's been wonderful to have you. It's been great to ask you questions and laugh with you and build a Gothic empire with you slowly.
Thank you. This is so much fun.
I'm glad you had fun.
I've read books like this in a long time.
Yeah, and I'm gonna make a comprehensive review, which some things will be similar because I already wrote you a review, so some of that stuff's gonna be there. And then it's gonna be up there on Sunday at 3 p.m. PST. Share it with everyone. Follow the channel. It's full of conversations like this with different genres. I try to do a different genre every week, so no like back to back. Next week we're doing historical romance. So we were saying about, I think historical fiction is doing a comeback because I have a lot of people signed up that does historical romance, historical fiction. So anyway, thanks so much for being here with me and for accepting this random invite.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Sweet. Well, good luck with everything, and I'll see you around.
See you.
Yeah.